Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I'm going to be doing a Handtrap tier list post SUDA. And before we hop in, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for 3 of the new Mole Charmy Secret Rare. All you have to do to enter this is like the video, comment down below saying anything, and subscribe. The giveaway will end in 72 hours from now, and the winner will be having a pinned comment. So the winner will have a pinned comment in 72 hours from now. And then, okay, let's go ahead and hop right into this. So, going over the main deck worthy hand traps, I feel like we should just go over all the main deck worthy hand traps first, because I feel like a lot of them are like fairly obvious. So like Ash Blossom main deck worthy, Veiler main deck worthy, Nibs main deck worthy, Shifter definitely is main deck worthy if your deck can play it. I don't know if you would main deck it. I guess it depends exactly what deck you're playing. Because there is Malice in the format, and this card isn't very good against Malice. And also, like, Ryzeal does have a play around it. But it's a little bit harder now because they're playing the Fiendsmith Ryzeal deck. So if they go, like, if you just hold Shifter and they go, like, normal ice, special X, overlay, make Excetonite, which is usually what they do, then you drop Shifter there, like, what do they do from there, right? They go, like, Requiem, Lacrima, sure, level 4, but you can't special sword because you don't have a Ryzeal on the field or in the grave. So, like, it becomes a little awkward. So I think people just aren't using this card 100% correctly. But, okay, next hand trap that's main deck worthy. We have Fua for sure main deck worthy. Imperm for sure main deck worthy. Magma Mutt main deck worthy. Druid's Worm main deck worthy. I guess, like, Droll is weird. I don't know if Droll's main deck worthy or top of side deck worthy. This card's a little bit awkward because, like, you want to have this card on your deck list somewhere for the Mitsurugi deck mainly, because that deck is scary if you're not prepared for it enough. And then also this hits, like, a bunch of other random combo decks. I think I'm going to put this at the top of side deck worthy though, but let me do the main deck worthy. Let me organize it real quick. So I think Fua is like, that card is too good. That card is so good. Then we have Ash, which is also an out to Fua, but I guess, yeah, we could put Shifter like right behind that. And then we have like Imperm, Veiler, Bystials, Nib. The Bystials are really good, like Magma Mud, Druid's Worm. I think it's like definitely worth main decking these cards. They're very good against Fiendsmith. They set up bodies on your field so that way you can Fiendsmith, or you can like Light and Dark Chaos Angel with them to start pushing into a board. Obviously, it depends exactly what deck you're playing on how powerful these cards are. Like if you're playing like Pure Ryzeal, these cards become like a little bit worse because you don't really have too much to do with them after that. Or if you're playing like some completely random deck like Marincess, these cards lose value because you don't really have a whole lot to do with them. We also have like Ghost Ogre. Oh, it's like Ghost Ogre and Droll are both like main deck worthy, but ooh, it's kind of tough. I think I'll put Ogre in main deck worthy, Droll top of side deck worthy, because like Ogre still hits like all the best decks. It's not that good against Mitsurugi though. It's actually pretty poor against that deck. Droll and Lockbird's really good against that deck, but it's pretty poor against some of the other decks. Like Ogre hits Malice, it hits Ryzeal, it hits, you know, a bunch of different matchups. People are playing Bystial stuff now, so you can at least like Ogre the regain to get it out of there, because if that card sticks, like they just win the game. That card just gives them way too much follow-up, way too many interruptions. It's just like, yeah, it just becomes too good. It just snowballs way too quickly. We have Mourner. I guess this is like maybe side deck worthy. I don't even know. You probably shouldn't even be playing this card, right? Like there's just no way you play this card. Like there's like 25 other hand traps you can play before you play this. So I guess I'll just put this in the side events one. Okay. Now let me go over the side deck worthy hand traps. So yeah, we'll put the other Bystials here. Now, Baldrake's a little bit weird because this could be main deck worthy if you're playing like the actual Bystial engine. But if you're not playing the Bystial engine, like it's not nearly as good. And if you play Baldrake, something cool about it is like Nib works with it too. So you could have like 7 cards that work with its other effect. Sornier is really if you're just playing like the Bastille Engine. Like that's the only way you're playing this card guaranteed is if you're playing the Bastille Engine. Baldrake you could actually play if you're not playing like the Bastille Engine, but it's not the greatest. So I'm just gonna put it in the side deck worthy option. I know you can main deck it if you're playing the engine, but we're not really talking about like the whole Bastille Engine here. Then we have Gamma. This card's worthy in the side deck. Delta. Delta in the side deck's a little bit awkward, but you can play it alongside of your Gamma to make your driver not as bad. Because now you're not just playing like one good card, one driver. You're playing like one good card, maybe like 1, 2, 3 of a decent card being Delta, and then one driver. So it makes your driver like, you know, not as bad to play because it's not half the time it's bad. Well, I mean, still when you draw it, it's still bad, but it's not like Gamma driver like 1-1 type scenario. Then side deck worthy. Oh yeah, honestly, let's say Lancia should be the top of side deck worthy, because I do think Malice becomes a lot weaker post SUDA. But one reason why the deck becomes weaker is because of how much people are still respecting the deck. And I think Lancia is just a god card against them, and you need to have Lancia in your side deck. Then we have the new Charmy. This probably goes below Droll, just because like this starts putting like a little bit too much respect on Malice, where you should probably start trying to respect the Mitsurugi deck also. Both of those decks are very strong going first decks, so you kind of need to respect them like almost equally. And Droll and Lockbird also hit some of the other random combo decks too. So, you know, you can hit like multiple matchups with this, where the Nihilus doesn't really hit too many matchups that are popular right now, that are popular and good. Let's see what else is side deck worthy. Phantasme side deck worthy. This is another card that you can play with Baldrake too, that makes the Baldrake live, and same with the Gamma Delta. Phantasme in the side deck has been interesting for me. I've tested it, and I don't really like it too much, to be honest. But I can see why people do like it, so I'm gonna put it in the side deck worthy spot. We have Dominus Purge. Oh yeah, if your deck can play this, then it would probably be main deck worthy. If your deck can play it, just being another Ash Blossom is really solid. Dominus Impulse. This card is like pretty cheeks. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like this card very much. It'd probably be like in the side deck of like a Malice deck or something. Just for like a Malice mirror match, or you know, something that it's like good against. You can set it against like Mitsurugi to be able to hit their ritual spell. Perulia, I think, okay, it depends how you build your deck. If you have infinite hand traps in your main deck, then Perulia's worth side decking. If you play infinite board breakers in your deck, then Perulia can be worth side decking. But it's like, if you're just building your deck with like, you know, 18 hand traps, like it's probably not worth playing Perulia, which I know sounds crazy. Like I said infinite hand traps and I said 18's not infinite. I know, but you can play more than 18 for sure. Like this card, you kind of have to have your deck built in a certain way for it to actually be worth it. So this card I will put in side deck worthy, but you do have to build your deck a certain way for this card to have like its true value. Like if you're just playing like 17 hand traps and you throw this card in your side deck, and then you know now you have 17 hand traps plus the Perulia, like that's probably like I just wouldn't even play it at that point. I think there's just better options. You could just have like actual hand traps. There's so many actual hand traps you can play right now. Like look at how many of these are main deck worthy. And even some of these side deck worthy ones you can main deck, like Droll, Baldrake, you know, if you can play Impulse. Now we have, I guess keep going to the side deck worthy. Actually, we'll just go to the side event ones so I can get some of these trash ones out of the way. No Material, trash. Crow, trash. Chaos Hunter, I will put this card in trash. Let me explain. There's a couple reasons. One, because I don't think you should be siding too much for Malice right now. assuming that your side deck won't have the space for it. Actually, I'll put it in has potential. It really depends on how people build their decks too, because everybody's switching off Terahertz post SUDA, because Terahertz is just dog water post SUDA. You could just be playing a Boa instead. But people are playing Nightmare Phoenix right now. But if they do switch over to Nightmare Cerberus, this card like loses infinite value, because they can just Nightmare Cerberus pop it, and then you just look stupid for, you know, using 2 cards to summon something that just got outed by a Link 2 that they can go into very easily. So, yeah, I'll say this card like has potential. It just really depends on the format standards and stuff. Cycle Reader has potential, but it's not the greatest. I think you'd only play this card in like a Kashtira variant or something, because it feels like the Bastiles are just better than Cycle Reader. Like, I'd rather have like a Banish plus a body than to Cycle Reader my opponent. So yeah, I feel like the Bastiles are just better than this card. Let's see, we have Bell, side events. This card's trash. I don't even know what you'd side this in against. Like, you could just like Bastille the Fiendsmith card instead. You can't Bell GWCO6 because they have IP and a Boa. So now you need to like, you would need to hand trap them enough to stop them, and then Bell the GWCO6. But if they get the GWCO6, that means you didn't hand trap them enough anyways. So it's like, I just don't see this card's value. It just doesn't seem very great to me. It seems pretty mid. Like, you can use it on the field spell, sure, but like the Malice field spell, but it's just not very good. It's just not very good. This is just a side event choice. I think Bell was like decent before, but I think it actually becomes like unplayable post SUDA. Then we have Ghost Reaper. This card's bad. You could call like detonator with it, sure, but they still have like their Fiendsmith stuff. They still have Duo Drive. They can still set up like the cross with the cross negate. I think maybe it like depends like what deck you're playing. Like, maybe if you're playing some like weird random rogue deck, you could like Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries if you have a bunch of targets, like a bunch of free space in your extra deck. But I don't know, this card doesn't seem like that good. Then we have Spooky Dogwood. Well, I guess I shouldn't say side events. I guess this card's so weird, right? Like, we all know why this card is actually played. It's just played for time. But even then, I feel like this card's actually pretty poor as a time card, because you have to play 3 Spooky Dogwood, and then, well, unless you play Small World or something like weird like that. But even then, like, I feel like I'd rather have a time card that just works going first. Like, if you ever look at some of my old YCS deck list, I would side deck like 1 Agave Dragon, or 1 card, like 1 Scattershot if I played Sprint in my deck, or 1 Red Resonator if I played Gigantic Sprite. Because I feel like you want to achieve your time card going first through your engine. Spooky Dogwood is just like, okay, cool, I have a 33% chance of drawing it going second, and I know my opponent will have a time card in their deck, so it's like, is it even worth it? I guess like there's not as many time cards right now either. There are a little bit more of a grind game. So, like, I don't think Spooky Dogwood is probably the move, though. You could probably just find a different way to, like, win in time, but just when you go first, not when you go second. You shouldn't be going second when time comes. You should, like, find a way to prevent that. A lot of the times, if you're going second when time comes, you've put yourself in the position where that has come up. Like, that doesn't, like, for me, I don't think that's come up in multiple events. Like, it just doesn't come up very often. Like, I think it's only come up a couple times ever for me. So, like, you can easily get yourself out of positions where you're going second when time's coming. Or, if your opponent's trying to get to their burn card through engine, you could just, like, hand trap them infinite times and prevent them from getting to it, recognize what they're going for, prevent it, and then, you know, pretty much play for the draw at that point, because they're just trying to play for a win in time, and you could just play for a draw. Like, you can at least get that. Now these two are a little bit weird, because I feel like you can only play these in like certain decks, so maybe I should have had like a category of their own for these. But Orange Light, like, you would main deck this if you were playing like Melodious. I guess technically it's like main deck worthy, because if you're playing Melodious, like, this card is main deck worthy. But there's not really that many other decks that can play this. Like, what are you doing? You're playing Agents? You know what I mean? Like, And Melodious is already like not really that big of like a meta choice or anything like that. But Orange Light is a solid card, being able to negate and destroy, take the body off board. Then Gizmic Uka. Dude, this card is ridiculous and branded. This card's ridiculous and branded. Like, if I was playing branded, I'm just gonna put this in has potential, but if I was playing branded, I'd for sure have 3 Gizmic Uka somewhere on my deck list. Probably the side deck. But you can go, like, they can go Requiem, Tribute Summon Lacrima, Lacrima 1, Gizmic Uka 2, Special Summon Ecclesia from a deck, Ecclesia, tag out at any point. You can go ahead and summon Fallen of Albaz, Fallen of Albaz effect, discard, fuse off, bring out Mirror Jade effect, dump, banish. Like, that's so cool that you can do that. So like that, I think that card's like really cool against the Fiendsmith stuff. So maybe that's something that you should consider if you're playing branded. But that's going to be it for the video. Like I said at the beginning, I'm doing the giveaway for 3 of the new Mole Charmy. This one right here. So if you want to try to win that, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe. The giveaway will end in 72 hours, but I won't be able to ship it out until like a week from now when I'm recording this, because it just hasn't came out yet, and that's pre-release weekend. Or I'm pretty sure this weekend's pre-release. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this weekend's pre-release, but I won't be able to get it shipped out for like a week from now. But you can still win it and claim it. And with all that being said, the DB Grinders signing off. Peace. Have a nice day. Stay safe.